is up, TYR Wodapalooza family? We are back for another episode of the TYR Wodapalooza podcast. This is the holiday edition here. As you can see in the background, we got the nativity sets, we got Santa, we got penguins, we got it all. But most importantly, we have a very special guest. She's a mom, she's a teacher, she's a Paralympic gold medalist, CrossFit Games silver medalist, and also the first adaptive athlete that Wodapalooza ever hosted as in the open division. So, man, we are so excited and proud to have you, our very own, born and raised in the county of Dade, I think, maybe
Hi.
305, Natalie Rovirosa. What's up?
Hey guys. Hello. Hello, Guido. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me on. Honestly, it means a lot.
Yeah, we're so grateful to have you on. So I gave a little introduction about you and just your amazing accomplishments. I don't think we've ever had a gold medalist on the podcast. So this is really cool. I can't wait to, I don't think I know you and I have had, a few exchanges and we've, grew up in similar areas and just kind of, we're Miami natives. So I think we just have a connection, right?
That,
But I haven't caught up with you in a while and also don't know a lot about your journey. I think when we first started like connecting was really early in the days of Wodapalooza, and I knew you more as a CrossFit Games athlete. But then I did find out, through various sources, that you were, Paralympic medalist and that you achieved your goal. But I never really got to talk to you about that journey. So I'm excited to explore. But before we dive into all that stuff, just tell us a little bit about, Nat's life right now, 2023. What is life like for you as an athlete, as a mom, as a teacher?
as as a mom, because that's always the most important thing. I'm striving. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving spending time with my girls. I had a really rough year in 2021. I was married for 20 years, and I went through a really bad divorce right after coming from the games, the first games where I took silver. So I just dived in in being a mom and being there for my girls and getting through one of the toughest periods of my life. So I'm enjoying being a mom. As an athlete, I retired because I needed to be at home. I still train every day. I went to the 2022 games just to get out of that funk that I was in. I guess it was like my redemption coming back as Rovirosa, my maiden name. And it was a better experience than 2021. Um, but I still do my CrossFit because that's just my passion. That CrossFit has always been a part of my life through the toughest times, and it's gotten me through the toughest times. So it's my therapy, as I like to call it. And I still train from my backyard. As far as Paralympian, I help out with Team USA whenever. Um, I spread the word, Gateway to Gold, for young athletes that have a disability. Because I'm sure if you know Nat, you know that Nat is a below the knee amputee. I lost my leg back in '01 when I was 18. We'll get into that. But I work closely with Team USA as far as finding young female athletes um, that can throw, that are throwers, because I was a discus thrower, national champ, and just involved really with the adaptive community as far as helping them see that that we might have a disability, but in the word disability is ability. So I go and I speak to people that are going to get amputated. I introduce them to my processes, and to try to get them a leg, introduce them to grants so they can afford it. And I went back into the classroom. I went That was my first passion before I had kids, and I just wanted to get back into the classroom because with the rise of autism, my daughter was diagnosed with autism. uh, with the rise of autism, I'm all about inclusivity, and like I said, when there's a will, there's a way. And I wanted to get back in the classroom because I feel our younger generation is lacking that fitness, lacking getting off their phones and their iPads, and like really diving into fitness and getting better and avoiding trouble. So by doing CrossFit, workouts, whatever it is, but get involved in sports.
Yeah.
I am the sixth grade health teacher at Matter Lakes Academy. And now I just got promoted to 10th grade.
All
Uh,
right.
yeah, 10th grade psychology teacher. So I'm enjoying life. I really am. I miss competing, but it's more of a relaxed, like you did it, Nat.
Yeah,
Enjoy the view, you know?
that's it. You sat at the top of that mountain and, um, you know, not only got to enjoy the view, but also the work that it took to get there. That's part of the process, and became a different person and a better person because of it. So, man, you really are just a, I don't know. I come from uh, a single mom background, meaning my mom raised two boys on her own. And so just that alone to me is like a superhero. Um, and
Thank you.
so for you to be able to not only do that, but then also just give back to school, to the future of just humanity and kids, right? And then also to those, young kids who want to strive to really see what their potential, how far they can take their physical potential, mental potential, um, through the Paralympics, giving back in that capacity, and then just you yourself, just pushing yourself, not allowing an injury that you had, not as a child, right, but like later on in your life, and not letting that set you back, but actually set you up for success, and put you in a position of impact and of influence. You're a hero, man. You're a hero, girl.
Thank you. I think we all have a little hero in us. We gotta we gotta dig deep when times get tough, and that's the hardest thing for some individuals. And that's just something that I have strived for all my life. You know, God's gonna put you through these obstacles, and it's how you rise. You know, it's all about how you rise, and when you rise with a smile on your face and grace in your heart, like I always tell it to my daughters, you know, rewards are given back to you,
Mm,
and that's just that's how I live. You know,
I love
like
that.
yeah.
I love that mentality. I don't know if that's something that maybe you were born with, or but I'm sure was maybe at least refined as you started to face some adversity. If you don't mind sharing a little bit about your story, and how you even became, an amputee. What was that like?
It was a car accident, March 8th of 2001. Um, I woke up, you know, to the sounds of the jaws of life taking me out of the passenger seat, and I was in and out of consciousness, in and out of conscience. And next thing I knew, I was in Jackson Memorial Ryder Trauma Center, um, and I knew something was wrong with me uh, because I felt like a pain underneath. And I remember that they were saying, they had said, I heard them talking, you know, she's bleeding internally. But I was in and out of consciousness. But those are like, when you face something so traumatic, it's like you kind of block certain things, but certain things come back to you within time, you know, and with therapy as well. You face it, you know. And I remember waking up in the hospital, and my mom and my dad were right in front of me. My biggest inspirations in this life, who taught me how to be this strong. Um, they just said they were crying, and they were like, "Mama, they had to amputate your leg." And I had just turned 18. I had dreams of being a dancer. I wanted to move to New York, get on Broadway, you know, and like that, my life changed. And I just looked at my mom, and I'm like, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah, mom, I'm sorry they had to amputate." And I'm like, "Can I still have kids?" I love when my mom tells me this story. I love it. You know, I'm like, "Can I still have kids?" And she's like, "Yeah, you can still have kids, but like they had to amputate your leg." And I'm like, "That's fine. I'll learn to deal with it." But yeah. So to me, it's like I think my sole purpose, even then at this life, was to be a mom and show my girls, you know, that if mom's doing it with one, there's nothing that they can't do with two. And you know, I started going to I was in physical. I couldn't wait to get my leg. I had lost one of the biggest loves of my life was my grandfather, Joaquin Pere, and he got cancer in the bones on his leg, and they had to amputate his leg. This was
Wow.
way before my car accident.
Oh,
I was
wow.
13. They had to amputate his leg, but before he got his prosthetic, I get emotional talking about him. Um, Before he got his prosthetic, they had to amputate his leg. before he got his prosthetic, I'm sorry, he passed away because the cancer had already spread into the bones. So he never got to walk. So when this happened to me, I'm like, yo voy a caminar para ti, you know? And I was in physical therapy for 2 days because I couldn't wait to get out of that chair. I hate that chair. I'd rather jump around. If I face an injury while training, I'll jump around the house instead of using the chair because I hate it. I think a lot of adaptive below the knee and above the knee amputees would agree with me on that. That's tough. Um, but I was in physical therapy for like 2 days. I got my prosthetic, and I didn't understand what his plan was, but I was like, I felt the looks of people when I would go out, like ay pobrecita, ay que lástima, and I hated that.
Mm.
I hated that. And that honestly is what became my fuel. A lot of people told me, especially the company that made my leg at the time, they're like, you're not going to be able to dance the way you used to. You're not going to be able to run. I loved softball. I loved baseball. They're like, you're not going to be able to run like you used to. And I was like, all right, watch me. And my car accident happened in March. I got my prosthetic like at the end of April, and I locked myself up in the room every day for Father's Day to give my dad a salsa dance. And I gave it to him on Father's Day. And that's where I think I realized, like, there's no excuse. If there's a will, you're gonna get it done. People are gonna put glass ceilings are meant to be shattered. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I think I had the my epiphany moment. And I just got into training. I got into working out, but that was before CrossFit. Then I got married. Do I keep on going about my story, or like
You're
I don't
killing
know?
it. You're killing it. Yeah, I mean, I love it. If I can just interject real quick, it really just sounds like, since the minute like that you found out that it happened, you had like a spirit of gratitude and were like, okay, it could have been worse. And
Friends. Yeah, I lost a lot of friends in high school, for stupid reasons. And to me, it was like to still be here. Yes, I'm a leg short, but like I've always said, I got two legs. One might be made out of carbon fiber, but I got two legs. Like I'm still here, and I wasn't taken away from my parents. I still can see my parents. Like I need to be grateful, and I can't be grateful laying in a bed sulking about it. So that was just and I just didn't like the looks that I would get as a young girl with disabilities and being told no. So that was like no, only you are gonna put your own limits. So yeah.
seems like you were a fighter from day one before when you had two legs or if you had, one prosthetic, one natural leg, like you've just been a fighter. You have that mentality. And so when something was theoretically, speaking, taken from you, you said, okay, cool. Like I'm still gonna fight. It's just gonna be a fight's gonna look a little different.
I mean,
Um,
don't get me wrong. I had my moments of like, what falling on my leg, not the phantom pains. I still had those moments, but I was like, what are you gonna do? What are you
yeah.
gonna do? You're gonna stay in there? Like, I'm not a lizard. It's not gonna grow back,
Yeah.
you know. So it's keep on going, keep on trucking. You know.
What did you have? I mean, because obviously, like you mentioned your mom and would you say your sister?
No, my mom and my two brothers.
And your two brothers, sorry.
Yeah.
Your mom and your two brothers, they
And
were
my,
your rocks, and like so that like when you would have those low moments, what was that like, and who did you lean on, and how long would you go through that for?
uh, my dad would come into my room like those nights where I was still recovering and all my friends were going out and I couldn't go out because I was still getting used to walking and you know those dark times. My dad was the one that he would show me old Hollywood classics, and my dad was there for me. My mom was the type of woman that was like, "Oye, camina bien, coja." That was my mom,
Mm,
Cuban.
that's all
And she's
love.
like, "Oye,
Yeah.
camina bien, que tú no eres coja, camina bien, tú no," and that would piss me off. But
Can I make
at
a quick translation for our American friends or those who don't speak Spanish?
uh,
Basically, is the walk well, you're not a limp, right? So I like it.
exactly. So sorry,
Don't be.
but she would tell me that all the time, and I think it was honestly my dad was there for the lows, like you know, just try feeding my soul,
Mm.
but my mom was the one that would feed my fire. Like I don't want anybody to ever, like she was
Wow.
the one, right, and both my brothers, and my half sister, my sister, um, it was just a support group, but mostly my brother David and Javi. Javi's the one that um, introduced me to CrossFit later on, and he was like, "This is right up your alley. You've been waiting for something to challenge you, and this is it right here." Like, and I'm like, "Javi, are you?" I walked into CrossFit Siege in Miramar,
Yeah.
and Adrian Tapia like welcomed me with open arms. Meg Sosa, who's one of their head coaches, is still one of my best friends to this day, and I was like, they're not gonna let me do this, like jumping on boxes. Like I can barely walk. I can barely walk a mile without my stump hurting. Um, but I I dived in and I did it, and then began this
Yeah.
incredible.
Your true athletic career. So how long after you got injured did you start CrossFit?
Oh, oh wow! I went and I graduated from Barry University with a bachelor's in psychology, child psychology. I started teaching. I got married. And then I had my first daughter. And I think that that's when I started CrossFit. That was in 2008, 2009. Um,
Okay, so like 7 or 8 years. So
yeah,
you were training.
I was training
You just needed like
kickboxing,
you needed a challenge, and it's funny because
Yeah,
like I mean, think you had a challenge. You're an amputee, but you're like, no, I want to challenge myself as an amputee athlete where I can, you know,
push.
push yourself to your
Yeah.
limits. You see what you're capable of.
Yeah, I honestly think it was after I had my daughter that I didn't want her to look at me like, oh my God, my mom's missing a leg. Why do all these other moms have two and
Mm,
my mom only has one? I wanted her to look at me and be like, my mom's doing things that women with two legs don't even do.
good,
You know,
so good.
so
Like yeah, I'm gonna go above and beyond. I'm not just gonna do what women with one leg do. I'm gonna do what women with two legs do, and actually
yeah,
do it better than them. So speaking of that, right? So you start getting into the rhythm of CrossFit. They teach you how to do the thing. At what point do you say like I want to compete? There is no. By the way, guys, 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
yeah.
13,
It was
14.
14.
14 was the year that the adaptive division came on the
No,
scene at
no,
Wodapalooza.
I was there. I competed against,
Okay. So you're
yeah,
15, 16. I don't know the exact year, but basically what I'm getting at is that there's many, many years that you're doing CrossFit and there is no adaptive division, but it's not like you're like, oh, this is not fair. Like you're just like, let's throw down.
I
Like
was going
what?
against able-bodied women.
Yeah. So what, like when did like what point in time did you say, I want to compete at this? Like how did that come about?
I think it came about because I always hid my metal. I always hid my prosthetic. I dealt with it, but I never dealt with the trauma. You know what I'm saying? And that deep, I was just like, I'm gonna do it. Let's go. But underneath the skin, there's still underlying trauma as a girl growing up in Miami. Those insecurities. So that trauma was still there. So I would always hide my prosthetic leg when I would go to work out at Teach. And one day, it was hot, and the thing is that my amputees understand me. It's always hot in Miami, and when it's hot and you're working out and the sweat's in your liner, you start getting heat rashes and you can get a skin infection. So I was like, you know what? Enough with this. I'm gonna wear shorts. And I showed up to the gym with shorts. I showed up to Siege with shorts on, and everybody's like, wait a minute, you're missing a leg? And
Oh
I'm
no
like,
way.
yeah. I was like, I mean, Adrian and Mig, Adrian Tapia and Mig, they knew because there was one time where I was doing like a squat, and as an amputee, your heel can't go down. So one of the coaches there is like, it's a funny joke. One of the coaches is like, put your heel down, and I'm like, I can't put my heel down. And he comes around later on around, and he's like, I said, put your heel down. You gotta put your heel down. And I'm like, I can't put, but I was still in that, I don't want nobody to look at me
Yeah.
type of mode. And I'm like, I can't put my heel down. And he went around again. And then he goes, hey, you need to put your heel down or you're gonna get hurt. And I raised my leg up and I'm like, I can't put my heel down. I don't
Man,
have a leg.
put my heel
And
in
he
your mouth, man. Get away from me.
he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's all right. But yeah, I have such great memories at that gym. Um, and I think that that was like my coming out. Like, you know what? Embrace it. You
Mm.
know, you're married, you have a kid, you're successful, you have your career. Now you found something that you're passionate about. Embrace it. And Adrian was the one that was like, "Hey, we're doing an open here against, I think it was downtown, the box in downtown where they would do like against boxes,
Yeah.
like
Box
you know."
wars or something like that. Yeah.
And he was like, "I want you to do it." And I'm like, "No, I don't think I'm ready." He's like, "I want you to do it." And I was like, "All right, fine." And in one of those, my deadlift beat an able bot, one of the like the strong girls. I forgot her name because my memory sucks, but she was. I'm sure if you Google pictures or you
Yeah.
ask, but she was one of the strong girls in the gym, and I beat her deadlift, and like I took first in that one. And then Adrian's like, "You know what? Like not a lot of people are doing what you're doing." Meg was like, "Why don't Meg Sosa was like, Wodapalooza's coming out. I'm gonna do it. Why don't you do it? Like just do it with me for fun." And I was like, "I don't think there's any adaptive athletes." And she was like, "So,
Yeah.
just do it." And I was like, all right, here it goes. And then that's when I registered at Wodapalooza, and I was the first adaptive female athlete to compete against able body
Yeah. Mm.
athletes.
I
So,
remember meeting you.
yeah,
I think we were on Tina Hills. I could be wrong with the location, but you know, as a just a quick brief on like my perspective of the situation, where I'm like, all right, start this competition, and what is the intention behind starting Wodapalooza was many things, um, but many things that came from it that I never expected. And so, like, I don't know, just watching like younger kids work out and see their parents cheer them on, that was really like always like sweet and touched my heart. Or older people, right? Like older people meaning
yeah,
like I would see people in their 70s, right? Or just like I don't know, like the whole thing, right? But then there's Nat, and I'm like, hold on a second, like, wait, what are you doing? Like, this woman has one leg and she's just doing everything and not asking for like, hey, can I shave the reps or can I like? No, you did it all as prescribed,
yeah.
and it really like
I
it
always say,
really impacted me, and I don't know, it gave me a stronger passion for what we were doing, and eventually things evolved and we created a division out of it. But it was I'll never forget meeting you and just bringing a big smile to my face, and you were just so full of joy. You're like, I get to do this. Like, this is so cool. Thanks for having this. And I was like, man, this is awesome. This is so
yeah.
good.
I remember the first time I was talking to you. Yeah, and it was because I went up to you and it was the swim, row, run wide. And that's the one that killed me because leg. I didn't have a running leg, but I was like top 8, trying to get to top 5 against
My
60 able
God.
body women. I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And on that run, it was like I tanked. But on the swim, that was our first conversation. I'll never forget that because there's certain people that you meet in your life that really care. You know what I'm saying? Really, truly care about the community and fitness and the well-being of people. And Guido, you're that. You've done an amazing thing with that because at that moment I realized I'm like, listen, and you're like, oh my God, nice to meet you. Thank you for being here. And a lot of people were saying, you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to compete. They're going to pull you out. It's a liability. A lot of people, like emails going back and forth. And you vouched for me.
Mm.
You vouched for me. And you're like, do you want to do this? And I'm like, I want to do this. He's like, you're you're gonna do this. I'm like, I'm gonna do this all as prescribed. I'm not. And you're like, then you're in. That's it. You're in. We got this. I believe in you. And I'm like, thank you. I go, the only thing is I have to take off my leg to swim. You know, can my husband, well, ex-husband, pass it to me when I get out? And you're like, that's fine. Because I had to remember we had to climb the thing out of the dock. And I crawled out of the dock and he had my leg there. I got my leg, I got on the rower. I was like the eighth one off the rower, but that run dropped me
You're
down to like,
asking for permission to do something that actually was disadvantageous to you. And I'm like, yeah, you don't need to, unless you have like a special propeller that's going to come out of somewhere, then
damn
yeah,
Nemo.
you're good. Yeah, exactly. Oh man, that's so good. Thank you for sharing that. Man, I,
You
I
really,
do,
you
I do
really,
remember that. And
we
yeah,
talk
who
about,
am I to like limit
sorry.
someone and what they're, able to do? Like, you want to jump? let's go. I'm for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be your number one cheerleader right by your side. So I wouldn't say number one because you had a big crowd. I remember that Siege crew has a great community. And so it was really cool seeing them supporting you and all the other guys that were competing back then. So cool. So let's just fast forward a little bit into then that, really started to catapult your athletic career, right? And so you're still at that time married, you're starting to have kids, you're still a teacher, and then you're like, I want to be a Paralympic. Like, wow. Okay. So how, like, what was that like, right? When did you say, okay, I want to do this? And how do you even choose what event you're gonna do?
I
Yeah, tell us a little bit
honestly,
about that journey.
honestly, I didn't go looking for it. They had found an article that someone wrote about me about competing in Wodapalooza, and I was really bummed out about coming last in that run. And I was like, I need a running leg. Like, I don't care what it costs, but I want to get a running leg because I want to compete again, And I went to an amputee coalition in Orlando, and I was trying to find somebody to sponsor me, throw me a bone, throw
Yeah.
me a leg to something. And in a sea of people, there's certain people that you meet that are like compasses in your life. And this lady was one of them. Her name's April Holmes. She's like a 5-time gold medalist for Paralympian. She's also a below the knee amputee. She's won gold for track. And in a sea of people, she was like, "You with them legs," because I have like pretty strong legs. She's like, "You with them legs, come over here." And I turned around and I'm like, "Me?" And she's like, "Yeah, come over here." And I went over. She's like, "My name is April Holmes." And I'm like, "I know who you are." And she's like, Amazing individual," because you always think of it, but you never expect that it's gonna happen. And I had seen an article about her when I had just lost my leg, and so I knew her off the bat. And she's like, "We got to get you on Team USA. What do you do?" And I'm like, "I like to lift. I do CrossFit." And she was like, "Nah, we got to get you on Team USA. Can I get your number? I'm gonna link you up to Kathy Sellers, who Kathy Sellers at the time was head of USOC, the United States Olympic Committee." And I was like, "Okay." I didn't think anything of it. 2 days later, I was getting a call from Kathy Sellers, and she's like, "Natalie, this is about the third time." She has the best accent. I love that lady. She was like, "This is about the third time I've heard the name Natalie Bewley. Like, I need to meet you. What sport do you do?" And I was like, "I like to lift." And she's like, "Okay, well, track and field is my area, but I can link you up to the weightlifting." And she's like, "But keep in mind, for the Paralympians, you can only bench." And I was like, "No, I want to use my legs." And she's like, "Well, if you want to use your legs, have you ever tried the discus?" And I'm like, "What is that?" And she's like, "You've never done the discus?" And I'm like, "No." She's like, "How about the shot?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Javelin?" And I'm like, "No." She's like, "All right, well, I'm gonna link you up to a coach in South Florida by the name of Scott Danberg, and he used to be an athlete as well. And you pick the three of what you want, but or what you're good at. But nationals is in about 7 months, so good luck.
Yeah.
Nationals is where
Go.
you got to throw to make the team." And she was like, "So good luck." And I was like, "Okay." So I met Scott and teaching. At the time, I only had Ava. Valentina wasn't born yet, and I would teach, leave Ava with one of the abuelas, one of the grandmas, and go to Anson Park, and which is in Miramar, and just throw and throw. And I ended up really, I did the discus and the shot, but I just fell in love with the discus because it's a dance.
Mm.
I always loved to dance. So it was to me it was a rhythm to throw the discus. It's not just, oh my goodness, why do I keep, okay, there it is. So I picked the discus, and I just every day, every day, every day, every day for the 7 months. And it's 7 months later in San Mateo, California, was the nationals for Team USA, and I threw 20. It was 2786, or no, 2886 meters,
Oh
and
wow.
that got me gold, national record, and I made Team USA. And
And then how much longer after that was the Olympics? Were the Olympics?
Rio was expected to be in 20. Well, Rio de Janeiro was 2016. So this was already, we're looking at. This is during 2014.
Okay.
And
So a couple
um,
of years later.
yeah. So they're like, but right when I got back from that nationals, the irony, right when I got back from that nationals that I threw the American record, you made Team USA, congratulations. I come back and we found out that we're expecting our second. I
Yeah.
was my second daughter. So I was like, okay. So I trained the entire 9 months pregnant. I kept throwing the disc, um, doing lightweight lifting with a heart rate monitor and everything. And world championships to qualify for Rio was in Dubai, which was world championships, which was going to be in October, the beginning of October. Valentina was born in March. All right. And I have to throw that in there. I had a cesarean for my moms. They know. All right. I had a cesarean and she was born in March. And in October, I threw bronze and I set the new American record.
Wow.
Um, and I took
That's
home bronze. Yeah.
that's no joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
cut you wide open, recover from that,
yes,
and go back to yeah. That's wild. Oh
I
my
think
god.
Beyonce sang it on one of her songs. And I was like, yes,
Let's go.
let's go.
That was okay. And then eventually you end up winning the gold. What year was that?
No, I won gold for all four nationals. I was gold medalist in all four nationals. I had
Okay.
the American record, but I took bronze in world championships, and then in Brazil, I felt short. In Brazil, it was pretty insane, and I let it get in my head, and I felt short. I didn't do as well as I wanted to do. So I think I came in fifth or sixth, and I think it was fifth in Rio de Janeiro. And then after that, I came back and I redeemed myself. Um, but I never got gold at any of the games because that's when we found out about my daughter's diagnosis.
Right.
When I found out about my daughter's diagnosis, I made her my Tokyo 2020. I was like, I'm going to
Mm.
let this go for a while, um, and focus on getting my girl to talk and communicate, you
Yeah.
know? So,
Yeah. Well, seems like you have your priorities straight. That
yeah,
makes total sense for
yeah,
sure. But it didn't stop you from continuing to compete afterwards because then you went back, you went to the CrossFit Games when the adaptive division went on to the games in its inaugural year, I think 2021, and then went again 2022. You're on the podium one year, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I heard that they were, I like to say that my gold was Tokyo 2020, because my daughter ended up talking, and through the
No.
process of all that, she's come a super long way. But when I heard that they were uh, bringing back the adaptive, I mean, not bringing back, they were opening up the adaptive division in CrossFit. CrossFit to me has always been my passion, like more than, I hate to say it, but it's true, uh, more than the Paralympics.
Yeah, your first love, so to speak, from
My
a
first love.
fitness standpoint.
It's what started it all for me. And it's just something about lifting weights and pushing, like it was just, I loved it. So when I heard about that, I was like, I have to go. I hadn't trained in I don't know how long. I was still doing lightweight, whatever, but not competitively like that. And I just got back into it. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. This is the first time. Who knows when they're going to allow adaptive athletes again, you
Yeah.
know? Um, and I just trained, and I it was grueling. It was grueling, but it was one of a great experience because you see the adaptive community. You see all these adaptive athletes that have struggled in their own way and have faced adversity in the face and smiled at it, and kept on trucking. So that to me was like mind blowing. And then one of my biggest fears is what's going to happen to me when I get older. Like when my bones are too weak to walk, are prosthetics going to still fit? And when I saw the master athletes, I think that that's what even impressed me more while I was at the games,
Hmm.
you know? So, and I took home silver there. I got second, wanted that first. And I was going to come back to get that first. But then when I got back from the games, uh, my ex husband, I got back to a cleaned out closet, and basically the beginning of my divorce. And that was just devastating to me.
Yeah.
I feel like my other leg was taken away. Um, and I think that's where all the trauma that I think I had been faking it till I made it type of thing resurfaced. Because for so long, it was 20 years, of marriage. I have an autistic daughter, my 15-year-old daughter. Like, what am I going to do now? And I fell into a really dark place, a really dark place. And Meg was like, fitness has always been your thing. Meg, the coach that was from Siege, that's still one of my best friends. She was like, fitness has always been your thing. Don't give up from going to the games because of this. Go back as Rovirosa. Go back as your maiden name. And I'm like, that's some powerful stuff right there. And she was like, let's go. Like, this isn't going to break you, And I was like, you're right. So I signed up at Life and I met some amazing people there too. And I had a coach, uh, Carlos, Paul, Meg, all of them were part of the process of getting me back because I had lost an unhealthy amount of weight. And I got stronger. And it really helped me cope with one of the hardest times of my life. Like, really. And it was the funnest out of all the years of my training in any sport. That year had to be one of the funnest years because I was doing it for me this time. you
Mm.
know every other time I was doing it for everybody else. Be the best mom, make him proud, be the best wife, make your dad, your mom proud. It was like never enough. I wanted to showcase that, be proud of me because I'm proud of you guys, like. And this time was like, I'm cutting that out. This time I'm doing it for me. And I didn't place because I think I ripped my hands on the rope wad on the first day like un animal. But but I still was proud at the fact that I even got there after the
Yeah.
year that I had. You know what I'm saying? And it was a phenomenal experience. But I said, yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, you put an end to it with an exclamation point, though. I mean, you went out and on top, like you made it to the
Yeah,
games, and you've just been. It seems like plagued with adversity after adversity, but like the phoenix, you just keep rising back. You
that's
know,
what my
wow. And so, thank you for sharing that. And I think that we all go through different struggles and adversities in life, and you've had your fair share, but it continues to evolve you, so to speak, right? You evolve from these adversities and you come back stronger.
yeah.
And I'm sure you've gained a lot of wisdom just in hearing your story. And so, what if there's something in specific, right, that throughout the course of the last, however many years this happened in 2008 till now, and obviously you've had different forms of adversity, but has there been like a specific mindset or a mantra or some sort of, habit, something that you go to that helps you continue to push through, continue to not throw in the towel, continue to believe, and stay hopeful.
I mean, I have a purpose, and I think I said it when I was 18, and I still have kids, and my purpose has always been my daughters, and I want them to, I want to be that example for them, kind of what my mom was for me, you know. The life is tough, and life is gonna throw you lemonades. I mean lemons, but you gotta make lemonade. You know what I'm saying? And one of my mantras is be the light. Every time I get in my head, or I doubt myself, or I question my capabilities, or I relive the past, that's one of the things that I tell myself is be the light, be the example that you want to be for them. Don't just say it, do it. You know, like, and I think we get caught up in this always looking at the negative in every situation, but with a negative, there's always going to come a positive. And I've really focused on my faith, uh, my religion, because it is, but that's why I think I go with being the light, because it's like focus on what's gonna come from this.
Right.
You're being tested right now.
Yeah.
because it's been like that for my life. Otro golpe, otro golpe, another hit. And it's like sometimes I feel like the water's here, but I keep swimming like Nemo. You know what I'm saying? Short fin and all, but I just keep swimming because it's like something good has to come out of this. And that's how I stay away from the negative and don't manifest the negative, and I focus on something. I know that he's with me, and I know that something positive is going to come from this, and keep on trucking, keep on going. And I'm going to get knocked down in a couple of months too, because that's c'est la vie, that's the life, but knowing how I rose from all these setbacks, I think 2021's setback was like the biggest of my life, if I'm being completely brutally honest with you. And the fact that I managed to get up, every morning and like fake it in front of my girls, like if I was my friend, I'd be like, "You are a badass. You are a badass woman. Like, palante, you're a badass." And I started giving myself that recognition. Like, look what you've overcome. Look what you've done. Like, stop it, go, keep going, and something good's gonna come out of it. So I think that that's my mantra. Like, don't harp on the negative, because you're gonna keep on getting thrown things at you. Focus on what good is gonna come out of that negative, because it will. It
Man,
will.
you got me fired up. I'm gonna just replay this whole podcast anytime I'm feeling a little bit in the dumps and things don't go my way and I'm facing some adversity, because I think it's important for people to hear that you're a human,
Yeah,
right? And I think a lot of people that really are very positive or are very just like motivated and driven and have a lot of vitality and or have life to them, like you are, right? Like people don't see the actual internal battle that happens in order to actually produce that level of positivity. Like, oh, you're so positive, or why are you always like, but you don't really know that this was actually a choice. Like you
yeah,
had to make that choice and you had to look through the dirt to find the gem and be like, oh, okay, I could focus on all the mud that's here, but there's something good beneath there. And if I choose to focus on that, then that's what's going to bring me out. Because, a lot of people would fall into, deep depression and just like whatever it is. And there's a difference between like clinical depression and whatnot. And I'm not here to, talk about too deeply about mental health. But all I'm saying is like, you have a very resilient mindset, and it's not something that you were just born with. It's something that you have cultivated and that you continue to choose. And so I just want to celebrate you for being who you are, and thank you for sharing your story on here. um, I want to close with this one question that we ask everyone who's on the podcast. We have a saying at Wodapalooza that says life is short, so celebrate hard. And we kind of say that as people are exiting. It's a banner that's been put on the exit of Wodapalooza for a few years now. And so the question is, right, as you whether you go to Wodapalooza this year or not, I'm not sure. I hope you do. Are you planning on going?
I will be there, but I'm probably not gonna be competing.
No, no, no.
But
We
I'll be.
Yeah,
I
neither will I be. I won't be competing either. But as long as we get to see your face, sir, that'd be awesome.
I
And so
saw you at the games. I saw you in 2021. We saw each other in 2021 too.
that's right. I
Yeah,
competed with you as a master's there. So
yeah.
you or I will be competing this year at Wodapalooza, but we will be celebrating. So my question is, what will you be celebrating? What in your life right now is worth celebrating?
Wow, wow. You got me. So many things, but self love, self love, loving yourself, loving yourself, and valuing yourself. I think I'm gonna celebrate that. That I finally have learned to really, truly self love myself.
Mm,
I'm gonna celebrate that, and always my daughters, especially my youngest, and how long she's come, how far she's come. But I think, yeah, self love would definitely be it, because I'm really, that's one of the things I'm very proud of.
yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're loving yourself, because you have a lot of people that love you. And sometimes it just, you need to just look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, it doesn't matter what
And
I'm going
it
through in life, but
yeah,
you bring value to this world, to this, yeah,
yeah,
spaces, community, to your family, to everyone. Just being who you are, you don't even need to do anything. You don't even need to win a gold medal. You don't need to do anything. You just being you. And
Yeah.
so you brought a lot of value to this podcast today, and whoever out there is going to be listening to it, I'm sure that they'll not only be inspired but impacted to charge through and know that when things get rough, that things will work out if you lock arms with people who support you and love you. And
The only limits we set are the ones we set on ourselves.
there you go. That's it. We'll let the mic drop with that. We love you guys. We thank you. TYR Wodapalooza is happening in what, 3 weeks now? So by the time this gets released, it might already be happening. But either way, we hope to see you guys there celebrating fitness, community, and life. Much love, guys.
Hi guys.
All right.
Are
All
we
right,
off?
Natalie. Thank you. Yeah, you're good. You're good. Thanks for sharing
Sorry.
all that. I know that was some of it was deep, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I think anytime you're vulnerable, that allows for people to be impacted maybe in a deeper way than they originally were had you not been.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just don't know who's out there listening, and that could this could really bless.
I hope. I hope because we all face struggles, but you know, and it's tough times right now. People are acting a bit erratic, if you ask me. But it's, you got to keep moving forward. That's the way I see it. So, so
Man,
I'm glad that you guys asked me to do this. It's been a while for me. I'm sorry if I talked too much.
I
Just
don't know.
say, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry.
Yeah, I cried. I did.
I was like, don't cry, because I always, once I start, olvídate, I don't stop. So I'm like, don't do it, don't do it.
Waterworks. Here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if you're ever down in Miami, down here, please come and visit us. Just send me a text and
We'll
we'll get
do
a
here.
workout in. We'll hang out. It'd be great.
Definitely. Send my love to the family, okay?
Okay, we'll do